name is Lila, and for almost a year, I worked the late shift at a 24-hour laundromat on the edge of town. It wasn't the kind of place people went unless they had to. Half the machines were always broken. The fluorescent lights flickered just enough to give you a headache, and the hum of dryers never really stopped. But it was quiet, and most nights it was just me and the sound of spinning clothes. The job itself was simple. Clean lint traps, wipe down surfaces, help the occasional customer who couldn't figure out the change machine. I didn't mind being alone at first. It felt peaceful in a weird way. Predictable. That changed one Thursday night. It was just after midnight when he walked in. I noticed him immediately. Not because he did anything strange, but because he didn't fit. He looked too put together for a place like that. Clean shoes, pressed jacket, hair perfectly in place. Most people who came in looked exhausted or annoyed. He looked calm, intentional. He didn't bring any laundry. He just walked slowly past the rows of machines, glancing inside them as if he were inspecting something, then took a seat near the back wall. He didn't use his phone, didn't look at the TV. Just sat there, hands folded, watching. After a few minutes, I walked over and asked if he needed help. He smiled, polite, almost reassuring, and said he was just waiting for someone. That should have been the end of it. But he didn't leave. An hour passed, then another. No one came for him. Every time I looked up, he was still there, sitting in the same position, occasionally glancing in my direction like he was checking if I was still behind the counter. Eventually, around 2 a.m., he stood up, smoothed out his jacket, and walked toward the exit. As he passed me, he said, "You shouldn't be here alone this late." Then he left. I told myself it was nothing, just a weird guy. The next night, he came back. This time, he wasn't alone. The woman with him stood out immediately, not because of how she looked, but because of how she acted. She was overly friendly, the kind of friendly that feels forced. She walked straight up to the counter, smiling like we were old friends, and told me she loved my hair. Her voice was warm, but her eyes, they weren't. They were focused, studying. While I thanked her, she leaned closer than necessary, resting her elbows on the counter like she was settling in for a long conversation. The man stayed a few steps behind her, silent, watching everything. She started asking questions. Normal ones at first. How long I'd worked there, if it got busy, what my hours were like. But there was something off about the way she asked them. Too casual, too smooth. Like she already knew the answers and was just confirming them. At one point, she laughed and said, "It must get scary being here all alone at night." I forced a smile and shrugged it off, but my stomach tightened. Before I could respond, she reached out and lightly touched my wrist. It wasn't aggressive, but it lingered just long enough to make me uncomfortable. "You ever think about working somewhere else?" she asked. "Somewhere more exciting?" I pulled my hand back and told her I was fine where I was. Her smile didn't fade, but something in her expression shifted, just slightly. She straightened up, exchanged a quick glance with the man behind her, and then said, "If you change your mind, we could introduce you to the right people." I didn't answer. They left a few minutes later, without using a single machine. After that, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right.
2 nights passed without seeing them again, and I started convincing myself I'd overreacted. Until the 3rd night. I was locking up the supply cabinet when I noticed a car parked across the street. Engine off, lights off, just sitting there. It hadn't been there earlier. I tried to ignore it, but when I stepped outside to take out the trash, I felt it. That unmistakable sensation of being watched. I didn't look directly at the car. I just walked back inside, locked the door, and stayed behind the counter. A few minutes later, the car's headlights flicked on, and then it drove off. I barely slept that day.
The next shift, I was on edge the entire time. Every sound made me jump. Every customer felt suspicious. By 3 a.m., the place was empty. That's when the front door opened. It was the woman. Alone. She walked in slowly, her heels clicking softly against the tile floor, that same pleasant smile on her face. "I was hoping you'd be here," she said. I didn't respond. I just told her we were closing soon. She nodded, like she expected that, and started walking toward the back of the laundromat, trailing her fingers along the tops of the machines. "You know," she said casually, "you really shouldn't ignore opportunities when they come to you." My heart started pounding. I moved closer to the counter, keeping distance between us. "I'm not interested," I said firmly. She stopped, turned, and for the first time, her smile dropped completely.
The silence that followed felt heavy. Then, the back door rattled. Hard. I froze. She didn't react at all. Another loud bang echoed from the back, like someone trying to force their way in. My instincts kicked in. I rushed behind the counter, grabbed my phone, and dialed emergency services with shaking hands. The woman sighed, almost annoyed, and glanced toward the front door. Right then, headlights flooded the windows. A car pulled into the lot fast. The rattling at the back door stopped instantly. The woman's expression snapped back into that same artificial smile. Without another word, she turned and walked out. By the time I reached the door, she was already gone. The car that had pulled in wasn't them. It was a regular customer who had come in early. But whoever had been at the back door, they disappeared. Later, when the police checked the cameras, it confirmed everything I feared.
2 masked figures had been waiting just outside the back entrance. Another had been standing near the front, just out of view. Waiting. For me to panic. For me to run. I quit that job the next day. But even now, I still think about it. About how calm they were. How planned it all felt. And sometimes, when I'm alone late at night, I can't shake the feeling that if things had gone just a little differently, I wouldn't be here to tell this story.